So, personal branding. What I'm talking about today, I'm talking today specifically about having a personal brand as opposed to just branding your business. The personal brand is about how people perceive you, how you come across. And whether that is intentional or not, you leave an impression on people based on how you interact with them. Maybe they have an interaction with you, maybe they watch you on a webinar, maybe they have a sales meeting with you, maybe you make YouTube videos and they've seen that, maybe they've read one of your blog posts, whatever it is. They've had some level of interaction with you and they've got an impression. Maybe they think you are really approachable. Maybe they think you're really warm, caring, and understanding of what pain points they're going through. Maybe they see you as a real expert and they really admire you and have that authority. Maybe that's how they perceive you, as somebody who's really professional, somebody who's really competent, somebody who's really organized. Maybe they view you as somebody who is really laid back and chill and has a really fun and humorous approach to business. Okay, so how you come across can be particularly important because we work in a relationship-based industry. The way people feel about us matters because they are choosing to work with you for a year or hopefully multiple years. Therefore, it's probably important that they have at least a somewhat similar personality, a working style or communication style to you, or at least the person that they are going to be directly working with. So if for some reason they've watched your content or spoken to you and they like to be really jokey and laughy, but you're more direct and straight to the point and here are the facts, and they like to be a bit more, here's a bit of background about my week and my family, and they like to be a little bit more conversational, then maybe that's something that they look for in their accounting professional, somebody who values those things and will have a bit of a catch up and a chat with you, and it's more, a friendly relationship than it is a strictly professional one. Whereas some people, maybe they are, I just need to know the facts and figures and I need this to be as quick as possible so that I can get on with it and do my work. And maybe they would really value an accounting professional that is straight to the point. The way you come across does matter, and for a lot of people in the industry, it's going to be a key point as to whether they choose to work with you or somebody else. So we know that things like price and the value that they are getting in their service are important factors. But for some people, the relationship they have with their accounting professional and the ease of which they can communicate with them and those sorts of things are also a key factor in what they consider when going to choose their accounting professional. So we want to be considering how we come across. You probably already have a personal brand to some extent. If you have been, the way that you come through in your emails, the tone that you use in your website wording, or the tone that comes through in your social media or your email, then that personality will come through based on how they are seeing you and how you come across. The way that you explain things, the way that you communicate things, how you present yourself. Do you look clean and proper, or are you more of a kind of laid back? The way you come across is important. Maybe it's the way that you handle a sales call or a pricing meeting. Maybe you handle that with absolute confidence. Maybe you're a bit more awkward and introverted and you stumble over things because it's a difficult conversation to have. All of these things compound and give this sense of a personal brand. A lot of these interactions happen unintentionally, and the message that comes across of who we are is an unintentional thing. So what we want to aim to do is to be more intentional with our personal brand. We want to be more intentional with the way that we come across. So sometimes our traits and our qualities, our personality comes through just without us thinking about it, because that's how people perceive us. If you met a stranger on the street and you had a conversation with them for 10 minutes, you will walk away with some perceptions of what that person is like. And the same thing is happening here. But what we want to do is take more control of that and utilize having that personal brand by choosing what side of ourselves we are wanting to show to them. And we're not forcing it, we're not faking something, we are being our authentic selves, but we're just being a little bit more, crafting and a bit more controlling over which sides we particularly emphasize in front of those potential clients. So intentional branding can give you a competitive edge against the bigger businesses that are faceless that have no personal touch. These big, massive companies that seem to just steal all the clients, they can come in, they can undercut, they offer budget services, but they're faceless and there's no personality to them. If you are wanting to work with clients who really value you and really appreciate you, then you might be wanting to look for specifically people who value your personal approach and relate to you and they feel understood directly by you. It's more of that one-to-one interaction rather than just dealing with an AI bot. Sometimes when you talk to your bank or larger accounting professionals, they might have these Q&A features where you ask for live help, but it's a robot. Increasingly in the world of AI, that it's become much more important that we focus on human interaction, community connection, and having that one-to-one connection with your client, particularly in services like business advisory, which are ever more important because AI is taking over bookkeeping. It's so simple now to do a lot of bookkeeping work with a click of a button using various different tools or using AI. So it's so much more important that we move towards those business advisory spaces. And with business advisory, sometimes it is like holding your client's hand and walking them through processes and financial information that they're maybe not aware of. So having more of that personal relationship with them can be the difference between you standing out against those big faceless companies that would just send you an email with your latest report. You having that personal touch can be a big advantage for you. It can also help you build on what we call the KLT factor a lot quicker. When we talk about marketing, I mention this a lot in the marketing that I teach in the Value Pricing Academy. The KLT factor stands for know and trust. If somebody is going to buy from you, if somebody is going to choose to work with you, they need to first know who you are, they need to like who you are and what you do, and trust that you are not some scammer, trust that you have the specific experience and information to help them in their very specific circumstances. And we can build on by incorporating our personal brand and personality into the content we are putting out to attract those people. Okay, so it helps you build trust faster because you are coming across authentically. It helps you stand out in that crowded market, especially against the big company. It all makes marketing a lot easier because your content sounds like you and is authentic out on a conversational level to one person. It makes it more relatable. They can relate to you better. They can see you better. Something that works well with marketing is talking to somebody on a one-to-one basis. Even though you are putting mass content out, the way that you frame your wording will be as if you are having a conversation just with one person. And when you are putting on a camera or talking in a blog post and you're telling your story and being conversational in that sense, speaking your truth, so makes your marketing more authentic and better, okay? And also it can help attract the right kind of client who better fits your business when you are really clear on your values, your mission, and your personality. The most powerful form of personal branding is video. Video is powerful because it helps you get your personality across in a way that a blog post or a social media post would not. With a video, they can hear your tone of voice, they can hear the passion, they can hear the energy, they can physically see your body language, they can see you smile, they just get more of a sense of who you are and how you communicate your point. Do you communicate things really easily, you really help simplify these complex things? Or do you speak in quite large jargon or circle around points because you haven't worked on those communication skills as much? Communicating your points in a clear, effective, and efficient way would help them want to work with you because they see and they realize this person has put this thing into so much more sense for me. Now that they've explained, nobody's been able to do that for me before. So that might put you above the rest in being able to win that kind of client over. And you can motivate people, you can inspire people by the passion that you have when you come across in video as well. Okay. Also, some cool things about video is that you can incorporate more of your personality into that just by the little have in the background. I don't have a lot in the background of my videos, but perhaps you have personal items that reference your hobbies or your lifestyle. Maybe you have a picture of your family in the background, or maybe your dog comes and walks through, and that just makes you feel more like a real human being, okay? And not somebody that's just being sales, buy my stuff, because that's how it can sometimes feel for people when they are scanning different websites and everybody is just trying to get them to buy. When you genuinely come across as more of just a human being talking to somebody, and I've been through this thing and I found the solution and I want to share that solution with you. That's more of a genuine message. So having things like that in the background makes you more relatable. Perhaps you prefer to dress down rather than wearing a suit and tie all the time. That shows you have a more casual relationship with your clients, where maybe that might signify that you're okay to message over phone or pick up the phone and have a chat, and maybe that's something that you value. So the way you come across is really important. Video is a very powerful way of doing that. Okay, so we want to consider how we're going to define your brand, define your personal brand. And there are a couple of things that we want to consider when we do that. So first of all, we want to think about your values and your missions. This could be your personal values as well as your values in your business. And then your mission is your goals or even your life mission. So your values and mission are powerful filters. They just guide how you work in your business, but they also influence who you choose to work with and what your kind of brand voice will feel like. And when you have that brand voice that is natural and real and authentic because it's coming from a place of your core value, that's where your personal brand starts to feel more magnetic. People can see that you're really genuine, really believe in what you're talking about. That makes you more of an admirable and respectable person because you're true to your values. So you want to work with people who align with you, align with what your values are, because those people are going to be more appreciative of the value that you provide, of the work that you do, of the conversations that you have. They're going to be far more appreciative of you if they have that high level of respect and admiration for you because of how genuine you come across. A couple of examples of people in our academy have amazing personal brands based around the core value of themselves and how they want to portray themselves. So Neil is a great example in our academy. He's one of our trainers and he speaks at a lot of our events and he's incredible. He's an incredible accountant. He's got an amazing business. Neil is super laid back. He hates wearing a suit. So he likes heavy metal, he wears band t-shirts, he has Lego in the background of his video. And when we've met with him previously on our Portugal retreat, so we bring people over to Portugal and they all come and have business team meetings. And we've talked about this idea of an ideal client and niching. Neil says he doesn't have a niche. He chooses people to work with based on how well he gets along with their personality and if he vibes with them. So that's how he determines who he wants to work with. Could I grab a beer with this person outside of anything? Because if you're surrounding yourself with people you actually enjoy spending time with, that's going to make your business more enjoyable to run and you're going to be more driven to help those people. If it's just, I literally just need more people in my business so that I can make money, that's less of a powerful motivator than I really like this person, I vibe with this person, I think they've got a great business ahead and I really want to see them succeed and thrive because I really get along with them. That's a much more powerful motivator for you to deliver more value to them, and it's more fun for you to work in that environment where you are helping people that you genuinely want to be helping. So Neil's a great example. There's also Elnise in our business and she has a beautiful family. And she really prioritizes spending time with her family. So she has built her business around that so that I think she works something crazy like she has 2 weeks in the business and 2 weeks off, like throughout the year. It's something like that so that she can prioritize that time with her kids. Because for her, work-life balance is so crucially important that she built her entire business around that. That helps connect her to various other clients. Maybe she could draw in a lot of people who also have young children and have families, that they want to find this balance of running their business and spending time with their family. And if she's coming from that authentic place of, I built my business in this way for these reasons, then that might be something that she can connect with those clients and that would draw them to her. Based on what you value and how you would shape your business, if you have your own accounting and bookkeeping firm, That might impact the way you choose to niche, if you do choose to have a niche, and it's very powerful. People have this idea that the more people I open myself up to work with, the better. But what that actually does is it makes your messaging much more vague and generalistic or generic, and then that doesn't connect with people. Whereas if you niche down and choose to work with the people specific in these areas, you're much more likely to convert those people, and they're much more likely to be people who highly value the work that you do and appreciate that, and are likely to pay a higher fee for the privilege to work with somebody who shares those values. Okay, so a couple of different ideas of values. Maybe you have a soft spot for startup businesses because you start your own business and you've been through that process. Maybe you like to work with non-profits and charities because there's a charity that is really close to home for you, or you really like giving back to community, and that's something that gives you a lot of satisfaction. Maybe you like working with Christians because you have the same belief. There is another member of our academy called Sarah Kelly, and she's brilliant, and she works specifically with female Christian entrepreneurs because that's what she is. She's set up her own business, she's a woman, and she's a Christian. So she relates a lot to those other people in that community, and therefore tries to attract those people. This gives you a sense of community in the people that you are bringing together in your business. Moving towards services like business advisory is really important. Perhaps you want to create a community like a business club where you can bring together all of those people. So for example, female Christian entrepreneurs, you can bring all those people together in a community that you are also a part of, and all of these people are going to get immense value. Women who are doing the same thing and are going through the same struggles, and you can all support each other in that community. When you have that personal brand and you bring your values into it, you become a part of that community just as much as they do. So lots of different ideas. I also have one written down here. Maybe you have something like ADHD and you have worked out how to run your business through that and get clarity and organization. So you have a bit of a soft spot for people who have that in their personality. Maybe you like to draw that kind of person in so that you can help them with those sorts of things. So it creates a sense of community, and it can add value to people to know that you share those same values and to put them all in that place where they can engage and support each other as well. When you share that deep understanding, your marketing can become very relatable. When your marketing is relatable, that's where it becomes effective, because people feel understood, they feel heard, they feel seen. If I land on somebody's website and I run a restaurant business and it says, we help all businesses everywhere to do their bookkeeping, I'm going to think, okay, great, fine. If I then land on another website that says, we like to work with restaurant businesses and we have tons of experience helping them get great results, here are some examples, that is just going to be so much more relatable to me. And especially if you know the particular struggles of the restaurant industry, you can put their wording on there that's, we know you might struggle with these things, and list them all. We know that this is a big problem in your industry. We know that this is something that can drive you mad. If this is you, this service is right for you. And drawing out and speaking about those pain points just helps make that person feel seen and understood. Okay, this person exactly understands the things that I'm going through, so they're probably going to have the best solution for me as well. Okay, so defining your brand then. We want to consider the values and missions. We want to choose a niche if we can. We also want to create an ideal client profile. What criteria am I searching for? What criteria do I want to try and amplify for in my marketing so that I can bring those people in? We also want to create a writing style guide so that your voice and tone can be consistent throughout different areas of your business. So the way you speak in your sales meetings, the way that your team speak in phone calls, you also want to pass this on to them, the way you answer people in emails or your standard emails, the wording on your website, the wording on your brochure. There wants to be this consistency in the way that you come across so that your personality and your tone comes through in all of those areas. And then another part of defining your personal brand, you also want to gather pictures of you, because as we said, you are the asset. The relationship that they have with you can be the big value piece, and therefore promoting it as you and putting pictures of you on your website brings it back to that relationship element. So If you don't have any, get some headshots, get some pictures of you and put those on your website, because you are a big part of that business and a big part of the reason why they would choose to work with you. Okay, so that's an overview of the concepts of personal branding and defining your brand. What we're now going to do is I'm going to go into ChatGPT and show you how you can start to create these writing style guides and various other things. But the first thing I want to do is quickly show you this conversation that I've had with ChatGPT. This is using a GPT tool that I have available in the Academy if anyone wants that, which guides you through the process of creating your ideal client profile by asking you a series of questions. So first of all, I just say start because I want to get started, and it says, are you ready to begin? And I say, let's get started. It then starts asking me the questions that I would need to consider for my ideal client profile. So where are they located? I like to work with digital nomadic businesses. So the locations vary, but they all need to be in an online space. Do they operate in multiple countries? Yes. What business sectors or industries do they operate in? Completely digital businesses, so it could be like content creators, online training, tutoring, etc. What size is the business in terms of revenue or employee? What is their business structure, or are there any structures to exclude? What specific accounting services do they need, and are they looking for one-time, periodic, or ongoing services? What is their financial health and cash flow situation? How long have they been in business? What is their personality, business values? So this is the area where you would bring in your values. What is their personality? What is their business values? What is their attitude to business? I'll use the suggested answer because I was creating something quickly here. It's suggested entrepreneurial, open to innovation, value-driven, and committed to continuous learning and improvement. In this section, if this is something you've reflected on and you want to incorporate, maybe this is where you put in family-orientated, so work-life balance is a key thing they desire. If you like to work with startup businesses, put that in there. People who are driven, motivated, tech savvy and entrepreneurial, whatever it is that would relate to that person with those values. You can list those in here, and that's going to then incorporate that into your ideal client profile, so that when you then use this ideal client profile in your conversations with ChatGPT, which is how I recommend you do this, create your ideal client profile, you save it as a Word document, and then every time you create some marketing copy, an email or a website, always upload your ideal client profile to that prompt so that it has that understanding of who it's trying to attract. So we want to align on those values, so we need to list those values in the criteria we are trying to search for. Okay, couple more questions in here. Are they tech savvy? What accounting system do they use? How do they prefer to communicate? Okay, if you really don't, if for you really like to have an email come into your inbox that you can respond to when you're good and ready, or within a reasonable time frame, rather than having somebody call you all the time. Mark Rayner, if you're here, he's been on the Portugal retreats as well, and a big problem that he has is that he gives his phone number out to people, and then he gets loads and loads of texts. He can't resist responding to them, even if it's his evening and he should be going out and doing other things. Consider that. How is that going to affect you? What is their potential for growth? Are they likely to need more complex services? Is there a minimum fee level for your service as well? So what this GPT does is it then takes all of those answers, puts it into this nice neat table for me that lists all of the criteria. And then what I can also do is I can get it to create a summary for me. So let's find out where the summary is. Okay, analysis of the client profile. So it's summarizing everything in there first, and then I've just asked it to, I asked also to create the pain points, the challenges, the fears, which I'm not going to go through with you right now because we have done this in previous live streams, but I just want to find the summary. Okay, here. So a summary of the above profile into a 1,000-character description. I now have my ideal client description. I can copy that table as well if I want and save that all into a document. I also have the ideal client description here. So it's in first person. I'm a digital nomad running a completely digital business such as content creation, online training, tutoring, or consulting with a revenue of around 100 to 500k. I operate internationally and need expertise in multiple countries, multi-country tax regulations. My business has been established for at least 1 to 2 years and I rely on QuickBooks Online for accounting. I'm proactive, tech savvy, and always looking to leverage technology and AI to automate my processes and grow my business without increasing my workload, etc. And then it also has in there about the things that they're struggling with, their pain points. says I'm looking for a long-term partnership with an accounting service that understands my unique challenges, and I'm willing to invest in those services. So that is now the kind of person we are trying to attract. We've got the ideal client profile. That's step one. Anything to do with marketing, always start with your ideal client profile. You always need to have that so that all of the wording that you create is targeting that person and attracting them. Step one is to make sure that the wording is attracting the right kind of person. Now, what we're talking about today is personal branding and getting your voice to come through. So we want to combine this ideal client profile with a writing style guide so that we can be attracting the right person by using our authentic voice. Okay, so let's look at how we can start to do that. So we've got a prompt here that's a fairly simple prompt, and I'm going to show you a more complicated one as well, but just to show you that you can start off pretty simple with this. So it says, you are a branding expert. I want you to help me define my personal brand as a small firm accountant. I value, in here we've got some square brackets, so you can input here the things that you value. Now I recommend you pick the 3 key values just to start off with, but if you want to add more and put 10 values in there, you absolutely can do. But remember, the more niche we get, the better. I value transparency, a long-term relationship, and simplicity. I want to sound approachable, relatable, and understanding. I know that I'm a very warm, understanding person who thinks very deeply about people, and that's how I want to come across in my wording. Please summarize my voice and suggest 3 tone descriptors. So, based on what I've told it there, it's given me a summary. So your voice is clear, human, and dependable. You communicate complex financial topics in a way that feels simple and jargon-free, helping clients feel informed and in control. You build trust through transparency and empathy, fostering long-term partnerships rooted in mutual respect. People find you easy to talk to, not just a numbers person, but a real person who gets it. You speak like a knowledgeable friend who wants what's best for your client, without ever sounding salesy, robotic, or overly polished. You bring warmth, clarity, and grounded advice that clients can rely on. So it's taken some different ones. The ones that I gave it was approachable, relatable, and understanding. But it said here, warm. Your tone makes people feel safe, heard, and understood. You're not just solving problems, you're supporting people. So we've got warm as the first one. Straightforward. You say what needs to be said, clearly and honestly. No fluff, no jargon, okay? And down to earth. So you're relatable and real, making you approachable to clients from all walks of life. So that's what it has gathered from that quick prompt that I wanted to set. Now let's just see if we use a couple of other words in there, how that might change how it comes across. So the next one I've put, same prompt, but I've filled those brackets in differently. You're a branding expert. I want you to help me define my personal brand as a small firm accountant. This time, I value authenticity, appreciation, and mutual respect. I want to sound funny, laid back, but still professional, okay? Please summarize my voice and suggest 3 tone descriptors. Your voice is genuine, grounded, and a little bit cheeky. You show up as your real self. No corporate mask, no stiff jargon, just a trusted professional who knows their stuff and knows how to make people smile. You believe in mutual respect and treating every client like a valued partner, not a number. Clients appreciate your ability to balance professionalism with a laid-back, light-hearted tone. You bring clarity to their finances without making it feel like a lecture. It's more like a smart chat over coffee with a few good laughs along the way, okay? That's more of the relationship that you want to have with them. I like that. It's more of a chat over coffee, okay? Tone descriptors, it says witty. Okay, you use humor in a clever, subtle way to put people at ease and keep things engaging. You bring a calm, casual energy that helps clients feel relaxed and comfortable and trustworthy. Even with your relaxed style, it's clear you know your stuff and deliver with integrity. I think sometimes this is a really nice approach to take, and obviously it's a very personal thing, but if somebody is really stressed about their finances and it's something that is very overwhelming for them, I'm not a numbers person, so working with finances and things like that, it stresses me out, and I would find immense value in somebody that was really reassuring and warm and understanding. And different clients are going to approach that in different ways. So those are 2 now that we have, 2 personal brand summaries. So let's see if when we use that, how that's going to change the wording that we create. I've got ChatGPT to just create me an example email here. This would be an email if you had a lead magnet, which is a piece of content that you give away for free in exchange for somebody's name and email address. Somebody comes along, they download it, it gets sent as an email to their inbox. What does that email look like? This is an automatic email, but it's probably going to be their first interaction with you. It's going to be their first time that they see your voice, other than maybe on the landing page where they got that freebie. So you want your voice to come through here in this email. So the subject line is your tax saving guide for dentists. The lead magnet is 7 best tax saving strategies for dentists. Hi, first name. Thank you for downloading 7 tax saving strategies for dentists. We hope you find it valuable and actionable. If you're like many of the dentists we work with, you may be paying more tax than you need. We help dentists like you keep more of what they earn with smart tax planning and proactive financial advice tailored to your practice. Next step, if you'd like to explore how we can help you apply these strategies and uncover more opportunities, click below to book a free consultation. Book your consultation, look forward to connecting, warm regards, and then you'll sign up. That is a pretty simple email. The tone of it is a very professional email, nothing wrong with that, but if you are wanting to inject more of your personality into this email, then what we can do is take those summaries that we've just created and bring this into this. So at the top of this prompt, I've said, can you rewrite the following email with the attached writing style guide? I have now attached the writing style guide by copying and pasting that in there. You could also save that as a Word document and upload it as a document into this conversation. You could go a step further. If you were going to work on a series of emails, you could upload that writing style guide to a project file, okay? And then all of the conversations within that project have that writing style guide as a reference. And you can put your ideal client profile in there as well. You should put in there your ideal client profile and your writing style guide, so that all of the conversation you have, can you create me this email? Can you create me this website? Can you create me whatever? It's going to draw on those files before it does anything else, okay? But just for the purposes of showing you this example of how that voice, that summary of your voice can change the tone of the email. Can you rewrite the following email with the attached writing style guide? I've given them the email and I've then given them the writing guide. So we're going with that second one that was witty, chill, and trustworthy. So we now have the subject line is your tax saving guide for dentists. Nice move, by the way. Glad to see you grabbed our 7 tax saving strategies for dentists. Hopefully it gives you that why didn't I know this sooner feeling in the best way. But here's the thing, downloading a guide is a great start, but actually using those strategies is where the magic happens. And if you're like most dentists we work with, you might be leaving money on the table without even realizing it. That's where we come in. We help dentists keep more of what they earn with proactive tax planning and tailored advice that actually makes sense for your practice. No jargon, no fluff. Book a free consult, we'll chat through your setup, spot a few quick wins, and see if we're a good fit to help you take it further. No pressure, just a relaxed, honest convo about how to make tax feel a little less taxing. So you can see the tone of that email is, it's a bit more chill, there's a little bit more humor and more personality in that. The sentences feel more conversational. This is really powerful. Rather than writing something that is quite stuffy and professional and distanced, we will help you with this. What was some of the phrasing in that original one? We help dentists like you to keep more of what they earn with smart tax planning and proactive financial advice tailored to your practice. That's a very calculated sentence. It's not really how you would talk to somebody. Whereas this sentence here that says, hey, no pressure, just a relaxed, honest convo about how to make tax a little less taxing. That's a more conversational style, and it can just make it feel more real, more authentic. So that is the fun, witty, chill version. We can also have a look at, I think I've got that second version as well. Oops, but I've clicked onto the wrong one. Okay, so what I did next actually is, that was the example with the small version, right? The small, quick prompt that got us that writing style guide. Now what I've done here is I have taken one of the prompts from our level 3 mastery course just to show you that you can do this in much more depth. It's a very long prompt, and I have also uploaded one of our website pages and asked it to analyze that page to get a sense of our writing and then give me a writing style guide based on that. So if you already have a piece of content in your business that you really like the tone of, maybe you've got it professionally written by somebody else, or you just really like the tone because you worked really hard on it, maybe the website work or something from your brochure or an email that you send out to lots of people, you can take that piece of content and ask ChatGPT to analyze that style of writing and give you a really in-depth analysis of how that looks. So for this one, using that really great prompt from our academy, this finds the voice and tone, which looks for voice, tone, and then a guideline of that, just to show. The voice is bold, clear, and motivational. It's designed to capture attention immediately with a direct address to the reader that feels both personal and empowering. It combines a no-nonsense, results-driven attitude with a reassuring confidence that positions the author as both mentor and peer. There's a rhythmic alternation between aspirational storytelling and grounded practicality. So that's for voice. We've got voice, tone, guideline. We then have the mood. So we've got emotional atmosphere and guideline. We've got sentence structure, which is variety, the length of the sentences. We have transition style. What words and phrases are we using to move between paragraphs? What hooks are we using, transition hooks? What's the rhythm and pacing of the way that the words come across? What's the diction and the word choice? What's the kind of vocabulary we're using? And what level of detail are we using? Is there any signature phrases or styles? Is there any punctuation that we particularly use? Okay, so it's really getting a lot of information from a piece of content that we've already written. So going back to that email example, but now giving it that really in-depth writing style. So the first one was really good, it was really powerful, and even just saying, using those tone things, can we make this witty, chill, and laid back? That can make a big difference on the way that the wording comes across. But if you want something that is consistent, then having a really in-depth writing style guide is super helpful. So I've done exactly the same prompt here. Rewrite this email with the attached writing style guide, but this time I have attached that really long, detailed writing style guide. So the wording now is changed to, so you've got the guide, now let's maximize your tax savings. Taken from one of our pages from our website. So it's slightly different wording there. You've downloaded your copy of 7 tax saving strategies for dentists. Smart move. Because here's the thing. If you're like most dentists we work with, you're probably paying more tax than you need to, and that's not your fault. The system isn't exactly built to help you win, but you don't have to keep leaving money on the table. We help dentists like you. Keep more of what you earn. Take control of your finances. Get proactive, expert advice tailored to your practice. Want to see if this could work for you? Let's chat. Your next step is to book a free consultation. No pressure, just a conversation about how to unlock more savings and set your business up for success. You've got the guide, now it's time to make it work for you. This style of writing was more motivational and inspirational. Some of it was maybe controversial statements and things. Hey, it's not your fault. The system isn't exactly built to help you. That's quite relatable. You can see how it changes the tone of that email comes across. We can also help it to look at other things. So I took my standard bio. I have a bio that explains what I do in the business, so that when I speak at events, we can put that bio on there and people can see that. And I just asked it to rewrite that bio with the writing style guide. I thought it was a bit much what it came out with, but it was also really cool. So it says, meet Emily, your go-to marketing expert and ChatGPT strategist at the Value Pricing Academy. She's not just a content creator, she's a content powerhouse. With a sharp eye for messaging and a deep understanding of the accounting world, Emily knows exactly how to turn marketing into momentum. Every month she steps in front of the camera to host high-impact live streams that pull back the curtain on how accountants and bookkeepers can actually use ChatGPT to save time, grow faster, and communicate better. If you've ever wondered how AI fits into your firm, Emily's your answer. Great. Marketing, messaging, AI growth, Emily brings it all together so your firm can thrive without burning out. I show you that because maybe this is something that you use on your website. On your website, you might have that About Me page or About the Team section, which is where you have that opportunity to talk a little bit about your voice, to show your voice, to show your personality. So by the way, on that page, you might have a video. You might have a video of you saying, welcome to the business, here's a little bit about the business, here's a little bit about me, here's my story. I went through these challenges and I've now got this business and I want to work to help people like you, etc. You could put a video on there, okay? Or you could use a prompt like this or the writing style guide to make sure that section about you comes across as your most authentic self. Sometimes people have this impression, which it makes logical sense, that if you haven't written it by yourself, it's not authentic. To write it for you, that it's not authentic. But I would argue, if you don't have the best communication skills, if you're not the best with words, which, let's face it, as accountants and bookkeepers, the numbers are what make sense to you, and maybe the wording, the marketing, isn't what comes as naturally to you. The message is still there within you, and the value and the authenticity is there within you, but you're maybe just not as good as putting that on paper. So if you can use something like ChatGPT to help draw out what you actually want to say, I think that can feel more authentic. And you're not necessarily going to type this in and take it exactly as it is. You might take it as it is and tweak it a little bit to just change it a little bit more so that it's sounds more like you and you feel a bit more comfortable with the language. But I sometimes feel like if I can't fully explain something the way I want to explain it, I can put my thoughts into ChatGPT and it can frame that in a way that communicates the message much clearer. It feels more like what I wanted to say. So I do think that is a really powerful, of getting the message across. Okay, thanks everybody, and I hope you all have a great rest of your week. I will catch you on the next one. Bye guys.